And you come out of this, this financial catastrophe brought on by, and almost every serious observer that's looked at this agrees, brought on by decades of deregulation of the financial sector, allowing all kinds of crazy predatory lending, mortgage origination, these people writing these toxic investments and ripping one another off, all of this crazy stuff completely unsupervised. And then you have a political movement that rises up and is, in fact, triumphant in so many parts of America, claiming that, all we got to do is get government out of the way and deregulate some more, And you look at virtually every Republican candidate, now they've moved their circus to New Hampshire, and that's what they're demanding. You've got to get government out of the picture. You've got to unleash Wall Street. By God, it's an amazing turnabout. Look, Rachel, I have never seen in my life, and I doubt I'll ever see it again, an ideology more directly discredited than the whole laissez-faire thing was. The whole deregulatory push was by the financial crisis in 2008, and yet it's back as though it never happened.
Well, and you write about, though, it seems like the key that you're able to find to how Republicans were able to push something that was the exact opposite of what circumstances would seem to warrant they should push. The key that you find is essentially that they were willing to do it, that they were willing to make a case for it, that they were willing to be activist about it, to be coherent and to speak with conviction and say, no, it's deregulation that we need. I know. It's just, trust me, it's deregulation. And by being so vehement and internally coherent about it, it just seemed like it was basic and made sense, and so people latched onto it. Is it almost like a psychological argument that you're making, that we need to hear simple truths?
Well, yes, it is. It is in some ways, but I wasn't going to go there just yet, because it's more than that. It's a kind of utopianism, It's that what they've decided, and they decided this very on with the very beginnings of the right-wing revival, is that the main problem. They say you and I can sit here and say we've been engaged in conservative politics in this country for 30, maybe 40 years, and the same is true in basically every other Western country. You've been privatizing, deregulating, deunionizing, outsourcing, all of this sort of thing. But their answer to that is we just haven't gone far enough, and we'll never be prosperous again until the day we deregulate all the way and we privatize everything, And until then, you can't say that laissez-faire or that the free market has been discredited, because we haven't been allowed to do every last little thing that we want, And what's weird, Rachel, this worked. This argument worked. This argument was successful. And yes, there is a psychological element to it. It's called the social construction of reality. And you see it in a lot of these kind of utopian movements throughout history, but you especially see it with, our friends in the Tea Party. It looks like you see it in New Hampshire.
Exactly. But that's sort of what I was going to go with this, is that I feel like your thesis absolutely has helped me understand what happened in 2010 and how the simplistic, incredible, but simplistic and vehement argument that sounds simple and effective, repeated loudly, can work and can move people towards something, especially when they're scared. But I wonder if you feel like you're marveling at the success of this movement on the right. Is it all damaged by the field of presidential candidates for 2012? They do not seem poised to do as well in 2012 as they were in 2010. And in fact, they're having a hard time even mounting kind of a credible slate of candidates, aren't they?
Well, it looks like it, but I wouldn't write them off. I mean, this was the mistake that so many of my pundit friends made back in 2008. Remember, after the crash itself, when pundits just across the board were saying, first of all, conservatism is dead, laissez-faire has had its moment, deregulation is over, and that furthermore, the Republican Party has to either moderate itself or basically face irrelevance for a generation. And what did the Republicans do? Did they move to their moderate wing? No, they purged those guys, and they went the opposite direction. They sailed as hard as they could to the right, and had this fantastic victory in 2010. And so when you achieve success by doing that, of course they're going to continue to do something like that. And I would not write these guys off. Remember, Rachel, they have, as silly as they seem, and I admit, Rick Santorum, I'm just like watching this with my mouth agape. I cannot believe it. But this is a party that's well organized, extremely well funded. They have a a powerful infrastructure. They're able to bounce back from the most incredible defeat just 2 years ago. All those scandals in the Bush administration, the delay Congress, oh my God. I would not write them off. Although, I will say this, the debt ceiling showdown was a huge black eye for these people. I mean, as and in Wisconsin, electing Scott Walker, that sort of thing.
Thomas Frank, columnist for Harper's Magazine and author of the very good new book, Pity the Billionaire. Thank you for writing this book. It's a great read, like everything you write, and I appreciate the chance to talk to you about it tonight. Thanks.